in the WGLNA. That is eLevate versus Full Potato, our next matchup. And you saw the leader of eLevate, G-Forcer, giving us some words of wisdom.
Yeah, and of course, everyone knows now, is playing World of Tanks with a trampoline skill. I mean,
it's pretty good.
No one else can accomplish something like that.
Very well balanced. As always, please follow us on Twitter at WGLNA, Facebook.com/WGLNA, and use that hashtag WGLNA so we can find your tweets and put them up on the broadcast.
And don't forget about our big question today, guys. Are you on team hashtag RU251 or hashtag AMX1390? Let us know at WGLNA. Hashtags. Don't forget it. RU251 or 1390.
Looking forward to seeing the results of those votes tonight. And as always, betting is happening as well. That begins at the beginning of every single battle. In order to place your bets, it's in Twitch chat. I'm sure if you're new to this show, you're seeing, what are all these syntaxes happening, all these exclamation point bets? You always start out with 10 points if you're just joining us. And you can check out how you're doing on our leaderboard at WGLConnect.com. Betting is open at the beginning of every single battle. And then obviously it'll close because, why bet on something when you know the result? It's not fun. Doesn't make any sense. Anyways, the top performers have a chance to take home a nice little prize per night. And a huge shout out and thank you to our lead moderator, Badco, who's standing by taking pretty much take care of a lot of things, but also to answer your questions in Twitch chat.
He takes care of business, Josh.
He does. Badco takes care of a lot of business. A little bit more about these two teams. Full Potato is a lot of fun. I really like their mentality coming into World of Tanks here. eLevate has been with us for multiple seasons, formerly Brittle Empires, now under the eLevate banner. And with that, we welcome our two team representatives to the face-off. Good evening, gentlemen.
Hey, how's it going?
Thanks for having me, Josh. Randall?
All right. Let's go ahead and start with Meadowhawk from Full Potato. You had a 5-1 victory versus Top Tier. Is this a turnaround for your team in terms of taking down a seasoned opponent?
It sure is. Like Randall said 2 weeks ago, our tiebreaker loss to Victoria's Secret was a bit of a rude awakening. We had to kind of step back and focus on our strats, on our individual gameplay, and on watching tapes. And we really, bore down on that, and I think it really paid off for us against Noble and then against Top Tier as well. So I'm glad it's worked out this far. We're hoping to continue our winning streak tonight.
Yeah, you're looking very good, very solid. Moving through week 5 here. And also looking very dapper, I must say, as well. Great suit. Great suit. Let's go ahead and move
the shirt.
Yeah, the shirt looks good as well.
You aren't the only two that look good in a suit. I thought I'd set this up for you guys.
Well, thank you very much. Good to know, Meadowhawk. Let's talk with your opponent tonight. We have Zoid from eLevate joining us. Zoid, I have to ask, what were the comms like when Erntai was landing his arty shots on Tuesday?
Everything was just kind of blowing up. We usually try and stay fairly calm. It's fun to get excited. But when he landed those shots for that much damage, everybody was just shouting on TeamSpeak. It was really, really exciting to be a part of.
Now, are you impressed with the amount of arty usage from these different teams this league? Has it been a bit of a surprise for eLevate?
I wouldn't call it a surprise. I think that Artie really has a place when you've got a team that has to defend. You know that they're going to be tanks, probably in a certain position because certain positions are better than others for defending. Artie is a great way to displace those tanks, and especially when you can come out with something like the GW Panther, which does such massive damage. It doesn't really surprise me to see it being used more and more. What I'm curious to see is whether or not it's going to continue to be used if people are going to start being a little more aggressive on defense and taking that Artie out of play.
All right, thank you very much, Zoid. Any words for your opponents before we start?
Good luck, have fun like always.
Meadowhawk, any words?
I'm just, happy to say that we're not quite the underdogs that everyone thinks we are. I know you guys are a bit biased towards the veteran teams, but Full Potato's here to stay, and best of luck to eLevate tonight.
Thank you, gentlemen. Good luck. We'll see you on the battlefield.
Thank you. Good night.
I'd like to echo a little bit more of Meadowhawk's sentiments. Are we biased towards veteran teams? In a way, the stories have been more solidified for these teams. They have more of a personality. We know more of them. But it increases that much more excitement when we can see a team like Fun Gaming take down a veteran, or see now these two teams that eLevate, even though it's technically a new name for the team, and a lot of the members have been fighting in the Gold League for quite a while. But for Full Potato, this is a big chance for them.
Yes,
tonight.
it certainly is. It's really hard, though, to predict the performance of any of the new teams. Being here from Season 1, Josh, we've seen so many new teams come and go. People rise and get about halfway into the standings, somewhere in 8th place, looking okay. We predict that they're going to go farther, but then they fall short, and this happens time and time again. Teams kind of are a flash in the pan.
Yeah. And in this kind of mid-tier standings for teams in about 5th through 10th place, I don't think any of these teams are flashes in the pan. And it's based on this dedication that teams playing Tuesdays and Thursday nights to come here, knowing what's at stake, knowing that prize pool is at the end of the road in San Francisco, happening in March. $171,000 on the line for these teams. We'll see the two rosters for Full Potato and eLevate. We'll be taking a look more at Chandog if he's playing tonight. And, of course, GeForce will be leading the charge from the front when it comes to eLevate.
And and Serenity 17. Definitely look out for him tonight.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye out for Serenity 17. Match number 2 is about to begin as we move on to Pro Horovka and Battle 1. What do we have for tanks?
All right, so 2 T-32s, 1390, 2 RU-251s, and then 2 M41 Walker Bulldogs. So that 5 Tier 8, 2 Tier 7 strategy coming out of Full Potato. Now, eLevate is going to bring something a little interesting. That T-32, yes, makes a lot of sense. Big, heavy armored tank, but the Charioteer, that is a tank destroyer that is new to the game and is highly controversial as to whether or not it should be brought. Many saying, no, it's trash. Then many also saying, I love this thing. Bring it every battle if we can. Now, 2 1390s and then 2 RU-251s will round out that, giving eLevate more Tier 8s, but they will have to bring a T-37 as a Tier 6, which some T-37 players can carry their weight and then some, but if he falls short, then I feel like that hurts a little bit more in the fact that you just have a tank down so easily as opposed to an M41, which can take a little bit more damage.
Slightly a little bit more. Always love seeing the M41 Bulldog in action. It's a newer tank. Its DPM is significant, but each shot does around 138 damage average. But if you're able to land those shots consistently one after another, guess what? You're going to start killing some tanks, and Fat Crow is the first tank to take some damage here in this series.
Yeah, and that's going to be a strong opening move without as much support as I think it deserves. Meadowhawk and Fat Crow moving up in T-32s. They are exposed to some angles of fire. I'm looking at you, Zone Delta, in that tank destroyer. He could potentially rip these guys apart if given the opportunity. And then you have the shift slightly to the east. eLevate has GeForce or Static and Azrael soon. These T-32s cannot afford to peak up very much because they will be taking fire shortly. But can Full Potato bring in the support? External, Boar, Chandog, Warbender, all of them are moving ever closer.
GeForce hit for 161, and that is going to be a key indicator for Full Potato to look out for that eastern flank compared to their western position. Warbender takes 2 big hits to the front. No tanks completely destroyed yet, but now look at the surround coming from Full Potato against Servios.
And GeForce is out of positions. There are members of eLevate not there to support yet. They will be late to the fight, but can they make the shots count? Can Full Potato get enough momentum? But there goes Warbender in exchange for Servios.
External now moves up to try to hold against this big sweep of attack coming from eLevate. GeForce are hit twice from Meadowhawk and Chandog. Chandog's going to be the next target. Looks like he missed one of those shots here, and Static and Azrael focusing next on Fat Crow and External. Static gets hit from behind, and eLevate still continuing to surround Full Potato here, but the reinforcements for Full Potato trying to land those shots from a distance, unable to get a couple of them here, and eLevate still has 6 tanks strong compared to the 2 Full Potato.
Yeah, Full Potato just paid too much for their engagement. The exchange was not in their favor. The positioning from eLevate was perfect for that kind of a situation. T-32s, 1390s, and RU-251s went down the exact line, the exact place on the map where eLevate needed them to go in order to just deal maximum amounts of damage.
Now, Full Potato, as we saw in that face-off with Meadowhawk, they may be all business, but they're also here to have some fun. Great personalities with the different players here. And I feel that they may have experimented or tried to test the waters against eLevate. Didn't really work in their favor. This battle is not a prime example of how this series is going to go.
Yeah, it could be a bad start. You're right for Full Potato. They're an excellent team. But eLevate made the right call this battle. And that's what helped them so much. And then the way they were able to perform in the brawl, you have to give it to them.
And that does it for battle number 1. eLevate is able to take it, only losing 1 tank. Servios, really good placement on Pro Horovka from them. I
think so. And the Charioteer, we're going to have to look at its performance statistics. That That's nice. 2,591 damage, only 1 kill, and only 1 missed shell from that charioteer. So just kind of put a note there, guys. This tank might see some more play if it can see performance like that. Much like the Waffentrager on city maps, charioteer may have a place on open maps like Prohorovka.
Good play coming from eLevate, but as the attackers, the significance of this is they can still defend, obviously, in battles 3 and 4. But what type of opening do they bring now? This was effective. You don't want to repeat the same patterns because it becomes too predictable. I'm thinking some more east side play coming from eLevate in battle number 2. They could maybe hold off to see the opening defensive pattern coming from their opponents here.
Yeah, the opening defensive pattern I think is very important. And you just reminded me. Okay, so Noble was able to bring a strategy which I haven't gotten to see in the WGLNA yet. We've seen it in other regions, but it first was adopted, and that's all light tanks in a highly mobile hit-and-run strategy all over this map. I'm wondering if either of these guys were able to see that footage and are able to then imitate the strategy or execute on that concept today. I think that could be a cool place where either Full Potato or eLevate, teams I think capable of that, could find themselves catching their enemy off guard.
It's where the research pays off for all these teams here in their 2 battles they have per night. Let's go ahead and move on into battle number 2 between Full Potato and eLevate. What do we have for tanks?
All right, looks like we've got 2 T-32s again, a 1390, 2 RU-251s, and 2 M41 Walker Bulldogs, and that's Full Potato. On the other side, eLevate bring in artillery pieces. They're going to put Urtai in the GW Panther. We heard in the pregame interview talking about that tank a lot, and I think we might see some good performance. It's up to Urtai. Is he on the ball today? And will the scouts Azrael, Zone Delta, Serenity, Static, and G-Forcer, those light tanks, can they get the vision needed for Urtai to be able to find his targets and then easily make those connections? It's up to not only his marksmanship, but his teamwork.
Multiple tanks hitting on that, let's say it together, east side. Sorry.
I didn't know what you were going for.
I know.
You're like, say it together. I was like, I have no idea what we're saying together.
Indicating like, hey, look at this. I kind of called it. But the opening pattern here to switch it up, this eastern play on the hill has really opened up in 7x54 compared to the previous type of gameplay we had in 7x42.
Oh, and Boar, he's on top of the hill, but Serenity, oh gosh, the RU-251s are sitting right there.
Boar
and there's the first shot. 266, but 2 shells go right by. There's another connection. And Boar is lucky to get out with that little amount of damage, but a little bit of crossfire coming from G-Forcer and Servios. That could have been so much worse for Boar. He got lucky. Those shells just went just to the right, just to the left of his turret.
The follow-up is what's so important now for eLevate. Once they've been discovered, can they do enough damage to shift the defenders here? And that's what they're trying to do against Meadowhawk. 484 in that volley. They continue to fire from long range. However, the answer from Full Potato went towards Serenity with 1 hit.
Yeah, that was Chandog making a rather insane shot uphill. Minimal exposure from Serenity, and he still lands it. And this is why Chandog is one of the top performers from Full Potato.
More movement coming from eLevate as Zone Delta is able to scout a little bit towards the north side, causing Boar 13 to move back. More shots into the center section with Meadowhawk in Fatkrub's position.
Urtai's loaded.
Previously revealed.
Oh, are members of eLevate about to take down the building that hides Meadowhawk and Fatkrub? Meadowhawk's tracked in the open, 252. Urtai has to be looking at this.
Waiting for that shot from Urtai to...
He's probably waiting for the
out.
building to go down.
Well, they're firing in that direction continually, and more of that building continues to fall. Not every single building can be destroyed.
There's Fatkrub for 252.
On the battlefield, but the majority of them can be. A couple more shots.
And these T-32s don't have... Oh, there's the shot from Urtai right over Fatkrub. Just barely. But these T-32s are too exposed. They're on flat ground, no real hull down, ineffective cover. I think they're going to go down shortly, and Full Potato is just losing health little by little. eLevate whittling them down before they begin that ideal engagement. Full Potato needs to make a decisive move quickly. And this could be it. Chandog moving along the west is actually, he's being taken down. This is G-Forcer predicting that move perfectly. Chandog taking damage, cannot approach anymore. Azrael is sitting there waiting. G-Forcer has taken a little damage in reply, but altogether, it's a win for eLevate in this situation.
Servios in that section was able to hold the line here. Serenity 17 continued to fire in his RU-251, while Zone Delta is on the reload. I believe once Zone Delta is reloaded, this will be the push-up coming from eLevate.
Urtai's almost loaded. Watch someone just vanish from the map in a moment. And I'm guessing it's going to be towards Meadowhawk. That makes the most sense. Once this last T-32 goes down, eLevate's going to have an easy push.
Well, they have 3 minutes and 20 seconds to make that push a successful one.
You're right. They do have to still worry about their time. If
Oh, nice hit against Meadowhawk for 324, but he still lives.
Where's the splash damage? I want to see it from Artie. I really am hoping for that
you
Artie
really
today.
jonesing for some more Artie action. Oh, he got it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to open up eLevate as they continue to push forward. Zone Delta, Azrael 90, Static and G-Forcer on the move at top speed. Serenity 17 going to take the northern approach as they flood the center section towards the flag cap with 2 minutes and 50 seconds left to go in the battle. External takes a hit on the move from Serenity, then RU-251. Now Static will place his tank on the flag. To briefly explain how the flag cap works, once a tank is in the flag cap section, they will be able to accumulate points, really, to capture the flag. If a tank is hit and it does damage, then those points are taken away. You can have a max of 3 tanks on the flag cap that accumulate those points, so the more tanks you have, the faster it is to capture the flag. However, each tank has its own kind of bank of points, so if you hit that one tank, it's only those points that tank generated that disappear.
Exactly. And we're going to see an example of that shortly. Shinma, in his M41 Walker Bulldog, has not been discovered hiding in the backfield. And he lines up a shot. Looks like he's spotted the cap, but only G-Forcer is lit. Oh, there's Servios and Serenity lit. But that's not what they need. They need Zone Delta. And there's shots fired.
Oh, so close to Zone Delta, but it is a miss. That came from the very northern section. And Zone's actually going to peel away from the flag cap, leaving G-Forcer and Azrael as Shinma.
There's a connection.
Gets a connection for a reset and looking for another one.
Now he's going to back off for a short time. Don't want to stay exposed for too long. It's easy for Artie to line up a shot in that case.
Nice shot on the move from Zone Delta against External. One more hit and External will fall.
Oh, wow, and look at this. You've got eLevate moving out. Shinma's unloaded, and the rest of Full Potatoes pulled back. More distance, forcing eLevate to cross a larger distance in order to start that engagement. They're going to take more damage for it, and that's a chance for Full Potato to come back.
Minute and 13 seconds. All Full Potato has to do is stay alive for that amount of time, and the victory will be theirs. That is the defender's advantage. Azrael 90 now pushing forward.
Ooh, Urtai barely misses Chandog on the move. Close shot from Artie.
Getting close to Boar, who's waiting. Oh, fires and misses on the move. And nice ram damage coming from Azrael, however, does significant damage to his 1390. 14 seconds left on that flag cap. 3 tanks remain from Full Potato. If there's any time to get a reset, it's now.
And Shinma's on the way. He's going to have to be the one to get the shot. But he might not have the angle. Serenity is moving to intercept. And if he makes this, it's over. That's going to be the cap.
We have to wait for the base capture to be completed. Serenity 17 still pushing forward here. Shinma fires back, and that's it.
Yep. And that's going to be it. Victory.
So the amount of time that eLevate had at least to initiate that push against the flag cap, I know they were waiting for Zone Delta to reload, but they were actually waiting for him to move from the hill and go into the center section. eLevate still got the victory there, but they could have played a little bit tighter.
You're right. I think so. But Full Potato doesn't look to be nearly as on form as eLevate today. You saw Artie making some good shots. I may have been waiting for Urtai to make more shells because I like the GW Panther. I think it's an excellent choice as a tank, and I agree with the assessments of members of eLevate to bring that. But this seems like the perfect situation for eLevate. They've got T-32s in the middle. They've got Artie with an angle. They've got the hill, which is a perfect angle in that center section. So T-32s don't have much to work with. They don't have advantages anywhere. If they were up face-to-face with the light tanks, then they can take them on. They're heavy tanks. Heavy tanks just stomp all over light tanks unless you've got that circle strafe going on, spinning around a heavy tank and you just can't keep up. But if you've got a good 100 meters, you're not going to win against a heavy. And that's where the T-32s were intended to shine. But when eLevate got out of the way, went on the hill where they were unable, where they couldn't be touched, it was only a matter of time.
It totally negates the advantage that you have of that T-32 in that position. So now the tables are going to turn as eLevate will be on the defense and Full Potato will be on the attack, and see if Full Potato can break the defensive posture coming from eLevate here. Looking forward to see what section they're going to take at the beginning, as hopefully Full Potato can try to break through here and put a point on the board in this series. Countdown has begun for battle number 3. Randall, what do we have for tanks?
All right, for tanks, it looks like we've got 2 Pershings, a 1390, 2 RU-251s, 2 M41 Walker Bulldogs for Full Potato. Now that they're on the attack, instead of T-32s, it's Pershings. They want to go for mobility while maintaining the hull-down advantages and then also bring the exact same firepower potential. Now, eLevate doesn't necessarily need that mobility, so they bring a T-32 and a Charioteer. And then they have a 1390, 2 RU-251s, and a GW Panther, played by Urtai yet again, with an M41 Walker Bulldog. So this lineup, decently mobile. They're going to rely on that RD to do the work. And then they have a Charioteer, which also is going to deal huge amounts of damage. Between the two of them, a Charioteer and a GW Panther, they can wipe any single tank off the battlefield in one volley.
Thanks for the tweet, Maximus Bob, and thanks for showing your support here for the WGLNA. We broadcast every Tuesday and Thursday during our regular season. Our pregame shows at 4:45 Pacific time. 5 o'clock is our first match. After 8 weeks of play, we go into the playoffs, and then our season finals will happen March 15th at the Folsom Street Foundry in San Francisco. The prize pool for the top 4 teams that will be joining us in person at that venue is $171,000 is what these teams are fighting for. Look at that base cap potentially coming from Full Potato, forcing eLevate to come to them.
And Urtai, it's an arty. They can shoot right up and over the trains. If he makes this connection, which he is zeroing right now, that could just be the reset, and Full Potato's attack might be getting a little dicey.
It's getting a little bit close here with 10 more seconds. Servios or Static are going to have to jump up and over those railroad tracks.
Shot out.
Oh, Shinma moved just in time to avoid that fire. 3 more seconds left from this blitz coming from Full Potato. A reset does happen against External here. And there's Azrael 90 in the north, the hero tank from eLevate, able to keep the hope alive for a little bit longer. And, oh, wow, Chandog's going to leave the flag cap. And G-Force is going to push himself in.
You've got to be kidding me right now. This should not have actually been successful. eLevate should be getting torn up right now. Full Potato has every reason to get those north tanks. It's taking just a few seconds long, but okay, there it is. Okay,
already shot.
They're a few seconds behind, but it's going to be easy from this point.
Already shot with that from Urtai. Was able to clean up that 1 tank in the center section. Now here's Full Potato moving around and cleaning up what's left of eLevate. Now I'm focusing more on the northern section. Urtai is going to have to go on the run. There's not enough time for him to be able to escape with 4 minutes and 36 seconds. Plenty of time for Full Potato to clean this up.
But Azrael's on reload right now, and you give him about 10 seconds, and if Serenity can hold off for a little while, we could be seeing something different. Also, Urtai is alive. That thing can change battles if he makes a connection, but Azrael's going to go down, and now there go Urtai's eyes, and they're shot out.
Oh, Chandog hit for 533.
Now, Urtai spotted.
Too little, too late.
It's over. Okay.
External's going to land up, get the shot, get the kill, and Full Potato puts a point on the board, 1-2 against eLevate, as the attackers so far have been victorious on Prohorovka.
I mean, look at these teams' play styles. You've got eLevate, a team previously known as Bernal Empires, who is known for their aggression, always attacking, never sitting back and defending, or at least incredibly rare for them to do so. They're still playing that style. Full Potato is very competent when it comes to their attacks. They're rather balanced, though, and I consider them also equally competent on their defenses. eLevate, they're getting better at their defenses, but it's certainly their attacks that work better. And Full Potato, this strategy from them to go for the fast cap was risky. If artillery had landed the shot, that would have meant they probably would have taken too much damage to be able to make an attack.
Yeah.
To then jump on tanks from eLevate and then get the kills. They would have taken too much. It wouldn't have been possible.
The tough part about this last battle is that Urtai performed so well with the RD on Tuesday night. And so when you have that expectation as a team of, if we did it once, we can do it again, there's nothing wrong with that. But because of the nature of RD and the RNG factor of its accuracy, you can't have that type of performance reliance compared to, another tank like a Tier 8, IS-3, AMX 3100, you name it, right? Mm-hmm. But you cannot discount it because of that. It's still a viable option. If it wasn't, none of these tankers would be bringing it to the battlefield. but it has to fulfill a certain play style, a certain strategy. And I felt that the setup against a blitz was not what eLevate was prepared for.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think so.
All right, let's go ahead and move into battle number 4 between Full Potato and eLevate, as these two tankers still have plenty of battles to go through if we see a back and forth series here. What do we have for tanks?
All right, looks like we've got a T-32 Pershing, 1390, 2 RU-251s, and 2 M41 Walker Bulldogs. So Full Potato now deciding to get rid of that one Pershing and bring back a T-32. They want more hit points, a little more armor, something that can take a bigger hit. And they don't. This speaks to their strategy. Probably not going to be a blitz this time. eLevate, bringing that T-32, that Charioteer, 1390, 2 RU-251s. Urtai's back in the GW, so eLevate is not Team 1390 or Team hashtag RU251. They are Team hashtag GW Panther.
eLevate on the defense again as the blue team. We have G-Forcer in the northern section across the railroad track. Serenity gets hit twice for 549. He was on the run for scouting here.
Yeah, the opening loop. Every scout does this if they want that early vision. You need it because you can't see them at the beginning. You have no idea where they're going. Could be east, west, could be a blitz right across the middle. Send your scout up there. Serenity had the best jump, and it's common. It's common for both scouts to engage each other, and it's fairly rare for both of them or either of them to connect any of those shells. But you had tanks Shinma and Boar to the far southeast who are on slightly raised ground, which is necessary to make those connections. But they're long shots. They're difficult to connect. And you got to give it to Full Potato. They set up for the opening scout run, and they countered it.
Now G-Forcer continues to move in the northern section, looking towards the eastern side. Using a little bit of camouflage here. Randall, you care to explain camouflage to maybe some of our newer viewers?
Oh, that is a fun concept. Let's explore. Okay, so basically, camo works as a part of the vision mechanic. Tanks are not inherently spotted in World of Tanks. You learn this very quickly after playing the game, and when they are spotted, the server then sends the information to you and it shows up on your screen. If it's not spotted, it's completely invisible to you, but it must get within a certain range. Let's say your tank has 400 meters of view range. You will see anything with 0 camo at 400 meters. Then, if you have what's called camo, a camo value for your tank, it is then against your vision range, and you do that basic arithmetic.
Basic arithmetic, yeah. It's basically the vision principles of your tank. They can't shoot at what they can't see, and the camo value for different tanks on light tanks, heavy tanks, and medium tanks will vary. And also hiding behind bushes or fallen trees will add more to your camo value here. One little shot towards Meadowhawk gets hit for 90.
And what I loved is when, this is a long time ago, but when fallen trees became camo.
Yeah.
That was probably one of my favorite additions. Shot out from Urtai, and Boar, 170 hit points of damage, and that'll reset the cap a little bit. That's the kind of hit we were looking for last battle.
Meadowhawk fire. Now he's on the reload here as eLevate's riding the line on the railroad tracks. Chandog a little bit closer as Fat Crow moves to the north side, and one hit against Static for 267. Zone Delta moving in to reinforce the northern section.
Yeah, and the current layout you're seeing from Full Potato is not ready to go and attack anything to the west. If any tanks from Full Potato decide to go up and over, I'm expecting them to go down very quickly. Now, there's another connection from Urtai onto Shinma. Very little damage, but it counts for the reset. And so that's going to extend that time. And I think Urtai is just going to keep making hits. Wow, Azrael. Azrael's going way down. Full Potato, some exchanges in the south, middle section of the map are getting results.
Well, in the north, Serenity falls, and now the up and over from Full Potato to the north. They're going to take down Zone Delta next, and Urtai is a little bit too far away to try to engage against these tanks. As the north falls, Full Potato takes it.
And there we go. That was it. In just a moment, everyone
External
gathered
goes
north.
down, though. There's 2 tanks down for Full Potato. Shinma, Fat Crow, Chanda, and Boar on the north section are going to celebrate a bit of their victory here, but there's 3 minutes left for them to either destroy all of eLevate's tanks or go for the flag.
And I think Urtai is spotted as he's taking fire, but no connections yet. There we go, are all the connections, but that was a little bit of a distraction. Maybe eLevate's going to be able to get some shots in here. If they can land a few, there's where momentum can come back. But it's a T-32, an RU-251 and an M41 Walker Bulldog against a Pershing, M41, RU-251, and another M41 Walker Bulldog. That T-32, a little bit of an advantage, but we'll see if who can do the
nice
focus
shot
fire.
from Servios right over the railroad tracks to try to help his teammate. However, Chandog, despite taking that hit, survives and moves in for the kill.
G-Force are unable to make those connections. That's what changed that fight. They could have taken down Chandog, but Chandog just driving too well.
Servios able to bounce that shot from Fat Krog. And here comes Shinma. Oh, the up and over. He breaks his tracks, though, and they're going to continue to fire against the remaining T-32 tank, leaving G-Forcer the only tank left alive for eLevate. Servios is not going to go down without a fight, though. He's able to get one kill. And there's a minute 55 seconds. Oh, long range. Boire gets the shot against G-Forcer, and that does it. Full Potato ties up the series 2-2 as we move on to the next map, which is going to be Morovanka.
That'll be fun. Attackers have a hard time with Morovanka. Defenders advantage. It's as far as the meta goes right now.
Well, Full Potato's going to have defense first. eLevate will attack first.
Okay, and then also notice Full Potato and eLevate both won their attacks.
Yep.
That's very uncommon, and I think it speaks to the attackers' understanding of Prohorovka, because what's amazing about the way the meta shifted in Prohorovka is that teams are turning the attack into a defense. They blitz one side, put pressure on the cap point, and then from that pressure, the defender, or the team that started as the defender, is then forced to take the role of the attacker to recapture their own cap point and then stop it from being capped. So you get roles flipped very easily on Prohorovka, where on other maps it's very difficult because the normal defensive positions are such that on every other map, you can't take away the defender's advantage from the defender without a harsh penalty.
In this opening, I'm trying to kind of look at the patterns we've seen so far from both these teams throughout their entire careers, and the aggression coming from eLevate back when they were Bernal Empires. It was something we could always rely upon, for good or for bad for them, because their opponents could always rely on that type of aggression. I feel that this performance from eLevate, they're becoming a better balanced team. Full Potato, new season for them, very first season in the Gold League. I think they're kind of assimilating a little bit of each team that they fight against. They see what works against them. They take that as a lesson, they learn from it, and they adapt a little bit of it for their team. And it's neat to see that bit of evolution coming from Full Potato.
Yeah, it really is, and I think you pointed it out perfectly. They are just absorbing the skill of their opponents.
Yeah.
Every time you strike them down,
scary.
they grow even more powerful than you could possibly imagine.
Uh-oh. We're quoting Star Wars. You know what that means? We're getting heavy in the meta here.
Oh, man.
There was a timeout called by eLevate. Every team has one timeout they can call per match. The timeout is 60 seconds long. eLevate called it this time. And after that tied-up series, them being ahead 2-0, and then their opponents coming back, very appropriate time, obviously, to have a timeout. But you have to think, what's the discussion factor for eLevate being on the attack of Morovanka? So far, every attacking attempt has been successful for both these teams.
I think it's an Artie play. It's got to be an Artie play because they're leaning on Artie heavily. He's getting some decent results, and if they just let him keep playing, maybe he gets warmed up. But they could bench him or switch his tank to kind of throw off their opponent.
Possibly. The countdown has begun in battle number 5 between these two teams. What do we have for tanks?
We have 3 T-69s, 3 RU-251s, and a 5916 for Full Potato, who are the defenders. That's a little different. eLevate, T-32, T-69, 2 1390s, 2 RU-251s, and a 5916. So eLevate, the attackers here, are bringing a lineup which is mobile enough, has enough armor, and has enough burst. But Full Potato, T-69s, they fire so quickly with their little four shell clip that if they find any single tank, even with a few bounce shells or missed shells, it's gone. It is gone, and it will not have enough time to escape because they have such short times between shells in the autoloader. 1390s, it's 2 seconds and then some change, but
Ooh.
T-69s, it's incredibly short.
Opening shot from G-Forcer towards Warbander does not connect. G-Forcer and the rest of eLevate fall back. Servios and Zone Delta now pushing a little bit to the south, using to cover those hills for their opening attack pattern as Urtai is heading through the magical forest, we call it, but that's the forest over in the 8, 9, and 10 section of the map. Delta, Echo, Foxtrot, Golf section. Very little bit of golf.
It's usually not a point where we see a fight happen, but it does happen. Now, I want to talk a little bit about Urtai here and that 5916. Usually it's used because it's such a stealthy tank. It's very small, low to the ground, and it's going to be used to get on the cap in the east. He's going to probably hide behind some of those bushes and begin putting cap pressure on Full Potato. Now, what will happen is, of course, Full Potato then will be forced to respond, which is exposing their own tanks. eLevate's just now setting up Azrael and G-Forcer in a crossfire so that they can punish anyone who's going to fire at Urtai. If they do it right, they'll get positive equity on that. But, oh, looks like strong passive position. That's going to be from Shinma. Is going to make that so Urtai's going to take a lot of damage. He's not going to be able to approach the east cap. Full Potato has countered the strategy of eLevate, and now eLevate must rethink their approach to this.
With 4 minutes and 43 seconds, they have a little bit of time to rethink that. But around the 3:30 mark, that's when these teams on the attacking side need to execute. Because of the possibility of a defending tank being able to escape, even with 1 hit point. If they're able to escape in time without the flag cap being captured by the enemy, then it's a victory for the defending team. Urtai very low on hit points.
Yeah, but he won't be the main part of the fight. I think he'll come in later and then try and find some shells into the back of his opponents. But there's going to be only very small windows of opportunity for eLevate. They need to get these T-69s, who have 4-shot drums, to miss a few shots, try and put it into a T-32, something that's going to bounce a lot.
And here's an engagement happening from Servios. Shot towards Fat Crow from eLevate. 2-3 misses.
And Urtai's bouncing. Does not have a lot of penetration. That's what you get when you bring a tier 6, unfortunately. Even though he can deal upwards of 500 damage in a short amount of time, not a lot of pen. Shinma taking 359 damage. If he goes down, Urtai and G-Forcer can pressure the cap.
To give an update on our non-broadcast match tonight, Timed Out is up 4-3 over top tier.
And now look at this, Static right behind the T-69s. They're going to have to go forward, expose themselves, but Meadowhawk is caught out, gets tracked, and takes 719, 945, and he's almost down. Backrobe, though, is first.
Meadowhawk so low on HP, but still in the fight as the rest of Full Potato now move up. Servios able to land 1 shot there until he falls. Zone Delta now surrounded by Full Potato. But the rest of eLevate are now moving in for the attack.
You can see the focus is just shifting for Full Potato. They're trying to find someone to take down, but eLevate is just being too organized. They fall back into a group, forcing Full Potato to come up and over the hill in order to begin that engagement where eLevate already has settled guns and can choose their targets at will.
More target fire happening against Full Potato. Nice shot from eLevate, but now the up and over from Full Potato to get away from G-Forcer and Urtai on the flag cap. They continue to fire into Azrael 90, the next target here. Serenity so low on hit points himself does go down. Chandog and External still trying to hold on to this fight against 4 tanks. They're overwhelmed, soon to be surrounded, but they're going to still keep fighting.
eLevate handled that brawl exceptionally well. Static body blocking for a T-69 kept him alive for a little longer, forcing Full Potato to waste time finding that killing blow. And now Static is loaded. That's a 1390. Chandog only needs 1 shell to go down, and External, maybe 3.
Oh, External from behind gets the kill. It's 2 against 1. Static, however, is loaded with 3 more shells.
Ooh, that HE shell did not do very much against Static. Only about less than 100 damage, 93, I think.
Oh, Static does not connect that shot.
He's
2
got
more.
2 left.
Hey, oh, 1 left for Static.
No, that was External's miss. Now
it's 1 left for Static.
Yeah.
Around the corner, External fires for 1 hit, but Static closes the deal. Full Potato can't hold. eLevate now takes the lead 3-2.
Ooh, I was afraid right then. Do you remember, what was it, 1 or 2 seasons ago when we saw T-69 versus IS-3, the same situation, an autoloader bouncing or missing every other shell? Or bouncing and missing all shells in a clip?
That was a T-69 versus an IS-3.
Yes.
Full clip, 4 shots. Who was it? Was that River of Blood?
Yeah.
But he had 7 hit points left, and the T-69 had only taken 7 hit points of damage.
Mm-hmm.
That was that one-on-one. And in the end, the IS-3 with only 7 hit points was able to block every single shot with his angled armor.
And that's what's so beautiful about World of Tanks. If you drive your tank well, if you manage your positioning and you play the game and you know the terrain in that level of detail, you can do exceptional things. You can be left at 7 hit points, at almost nothing left. We've seen 1 hit point tanks do amazing things. You can turn a battle around, or you could clutch something based on just that alone.
Yeah.
A little marksmanship goes a long way too.
That's the first victory for a defender so far in this series, which is quite impressive. Usually, a lot of people echo the defender's advantage, which is not necessarily the case based on our stats, depending on the map, of course. But for tankers to have a significant lead on the attacking side, some of them feel they can rest easy once they go on the defenders because it's more of their opponents that have to initiate the attacks. They have to work through weaker strategic entries, at least when it comes to the maps itself. But that's not always the case. Most of it, 98% of it depends on player skill.
Yeah,
team skill.
and the approach you take mentally to solving the problem. There's different ways to approach it and different schools of thought, you could say, in this. But real quick, the tanks. Full Potato brings 2 T-32s this time, a T-69, a single 1390, 2 RU-251s, and a 5916. So it's that mix of mobility, armor, and then you've got a T-69 medium tank, which is meant to take on tanks like RU-251s, 1390s, and win based on more hit points, armor, and the same damage potentials. Now, eLevate has a T-32, just one, 3 1390s for scouting, and RU-251 for scouting, and an M41 Walker Bulldog as well, played by G-Forcer. But they're going to put Urtai back in that GW Panther, and they're going to play that long-range game again. So right off the bat, I think I'm going to follow Urtai. And we're going to see if who he's going to aim for and then what his target is.
Big shout out to Posey, who just downloaded the game. You are welcome, sir. Thanks for watching. WorldOfTanks.com, free to play. Plenty of tanks to play from. Every single tank was either actually created or is based on a blueprint or prototype design.
And a few things which are logical. Guns that were not, maybe like some American tanks get a few cool guns which may have been meant for something else, but could have been mounted.
Yes.
Which is really cool.
G-Forcer will continue to scout around here as we're looking at the...
Shot out from Urtai.
Ooh, long-range shot. That was towards either Fat Crow or Meadowhawk, but I don't see any HP damage being done. Just overall, the opening move for any attacker brings a level of anxiety. Morovanka has been quite a fun map to see these tanks and these tankers adjust to a new map that was added this season. And one of the kind of favorite classical moments that happened with Fun Gaming earlier on in the season when they were in the northern section and their opponents, I forget which team, were hiding in the trees. And all of a sudden, Fun Gaming approaches from the north, and it was over in a matter of seconds.
Simply irresistible?
Was it?
I think it may have been.
I'll have to go back and check, but that was quite the engagement coming out of the forest. Great usage of that. Unfortunately, you can only use it once pretty much because then it becomes predictable if you keep trying to use that strategy.
There's just enough strategies.
Yeah, there's just enough, exactly.
There's just a large enough pool of established, proven strategies that you can switch it up, though.
G-Forcer opening up against Fat Crow with one shot here.
They know he's there, though. He has been spotted before, but once...
And another clean shot towards Meadowhawk, it looks like.
Oh, and a shot from
again.
Artie!
G-Forcer is on the run.
Oh!
He's got it. He's 2 more shots left in his tank.
Wow.
Gets another hit.
That was impressive. Urtai and G-Forcer focusing on that target. Good communication, timing, because there wasn't a lot left for G-Forcer and Urtai to get that kill. That is huge. T-32 down. That represents so much position because a T-32 can hold the west side cap so easily and so efficiently. And now it's gone. This is going to prompt a push from Full Potato. They know they can't wait any longer. The more time eLevate has to get those Artie shells out and deal even more damage.
And there's the first damage done to Zone Delta. 2 hits that rang true against him as G-Forcer is moving as fast as he can to get to the action. Azrael 90 and Servios are in the engagement towards the eastern side of the map as Static's going to fall back on the west. External still alive. Shinma comes out from around the corner and gets the kill. Servios now under attack from the rest of the red tanks. Serenity moves up to try to return fire. Boar has another shot.
Artie's loaded, shot out.
And that one does only 81 on explosive damage. Bar was moving back in time. Tanks up on the high ground, firing down below against Meadowhawk, Shinman, Boar. Servios barely left alive, but still using as much as he can of that terrain. And a big bounce against Warbander. There's another tank down for Full Potato.
And there we go, G-Forcer. This high ground is going to be crucial. Warbander's ahead on the reload, though. But Static, there's a crew skill, which will increase his reload time if he's below 10% hit points. He'll be able to get a little bit ahead there. Now, shot out from Urtai.
Huge shot against Meadowhawk. Total volley after he got hit again. That's 557. G-Forcer, barely any damage done to his tank. And Serenity now going to try to get another shot against Meadowhawk. Lands for 279. But here comes Boar. Serenity now pushes forward. He's loaded. Oh, and he misses a shot. Meadowhawk looking to land another one, though, as Boar is going to move up. Serenity knows this. He takes a hit from Meadowhawk. Unfortunately, can't get the kill.
Urtai's almost loaded. 1 second. Shot out momentarily. He's zeroing right now. Shot out.
Oh, gets the shot. G-Forcer moves in just in time to scout for him. Boar is under attack from G-Forcer, who has plenty of shots left to deal with that one tank, but Warbander can get the kill against G-Forcer here. One more shot, he'll go down. G-Forcer takes down Warbander, and now it's one-on-one. Urtai versus the 1390, who is out of shells and on the reload with 2 minutes and 5 seconds left to go. Potato has a bit of an advantage here because of being the defenders. Urtai has to get a beautiful, perfect shot against the 1390 up top.
What?
Can't get it.
That was so close, though. That was so incredibly close. He did not have him spotted. There was no way he was lit that long. That was a prediction shot, and he was almost on top. Now, Warbander's at full health. That is 1,100 hit points. Urtai, his HE shells don't pen so well that I think he's going to be able to get that tank destroyer single shell connection. This is going to be very difficult for Urtai. Warbander has every reason to come out of this fight, if it happens, alive.
And Warbander has every reason not to even engage in this fight, Randall, because they have the defender's advantage. So it's really tough for Urtai to try to catch up, and if Warbander plays this safe, he'll stay as far away as he can from the Artie, and he'll probably, if I was him, I would not stop moving. I would keep moving in a serpentine.
I'd go passive. Go passive somewhere between the first cap and the second. The east and the west, somewhere around the 4-5 line. There's a position maybe, I'm thinking probably Kilo 3. So Warbander's a little bit north of sorry, a little south of where I would go. But that's a safe position. Artie's not going to be able to splash you out, although some Artie might predict that you'll go there. But
it's a really tough position for Urtai to be in, and Warbander may have a clear shot as Urtai's going to get closer to this hill.
Urtai can actually play a game of getting spotted. If he shows up in the right position, his sixth sense goes off, the 3-second delay.
This little light bulb you'll see here on our UI indicates he had been spotted.
And shot out from Urtai. Blind fire over to the east. Now, this one should be over. For 13 seconds left, Warbander not taking any damage, and Urtai's still not spotted as well. So as he gets the cap, he can't cap it. He has to kill. He doesn't have enough time to reload. That's going to be a victory for Full Potato in this one. But what will they be able to bring Urtai next battle and make it work is the big question.
Well, then sides are going to flip again because Urtai is going to be on the defensive side.
Already on defense. Think about that southwest area of the map. You've got just a little bit of a low ground. You can't direct fire at that artillery piece, so he's relatively safe because already, being able to have indirect fire can find cover in that way. But look at his shots this battle. Urtai was at times making the crucial shots. It's just that the rest of the team was not able to do nearly enough damage to keep up with it. After we look at the post-game stats, there's 2 direct hits from Artie, which were devastating, and then 8 shells out. Now, damage is 1,985. That's the top of his team. eLevate, Azrael, Serenity, 2 players we expect to perform incredibly well, dead with less than 1,000 hit points and damage, 540 and 467. They're the ones we depend on.
Yeah.
They're the guys for eLevate that are expected to do the best. What were they doing?
Not knowing the role, at least in that sense. It's kind of tough when you have 2 fronts to engage upon, right, at the same time. And that's happening with, a lot of these teams, obviously, in the Gold League, but it's happening a lot on Murovanka, where this section right above that flag cap in the south, teams are really utilizing these hills very, very well, knowing when to go up and over and when to use as cover. And other teams are a little bit jaded or a little bit distracted by the firefight happening from further away rather than what's right in front of them across the other side of the hill.
Exactly.
This is battle number 7 between eLevate and Full Potato. What do we have for tanks?
All right, so no Artie this time, guys. You're gonna you can rest easy. I'm not gonna keep harping on it. 2 1390s, 3 RU251s, 2 M41 Walker Bulldogs from Full Potato. They are now the attackers, by the way. Highly mobile lineup. I'm expecting a blitz. On the other side, eLevate, a single T32, 3 1390s, 2 RU251s, and a 5916. Now, Urtai will be in the 5916, perhaps on the east flank while the rest of the group stays together, but that T32 from Servios might be able to make a big difference here in that his hull down capabilities and the armor profile are such that you're going to see bounced shells all over the place.
Serenity 17 is the closest to the enemy to the north.
Ooh, and look at this, Warbender and Shinma. Take a look at the positions they're currently in. Warbender behind a house, Shinma behind a destructible building, but this is an uncommon position because it is somewhat exposed, but this could work out for Full Potato if they practice perhaps the flank, where you can have Shinma and Warbender move slightly to the south and then east, and they don't have to worry about traditional zones of control or zones of fire. They can approach slightly outside of that, enter that zone of danger, and then begin their engagement on even footing, as opposed to having to cross about 100 meters and then start the engagement on grounds that you can both make your shells connect equally as possible.
Holding back eLevate as the defenders towards their flag cap, waiting for Full Potato to make the first move. This is where the opening run, just around that 5-minute mark, is very crucial to see what kind of map control the other team will have. Some defenders like to send out those scouts to get more information on the opening enemy movement, not necessarily where they end up, but in which direction they're headed.
Intel is key. If because you can't see your enemy, you don't know where they are at all times, you need to keep searching for them, keep them lit. Right there, Servios is lit, and he may start taking fire if someone can find that angle.
And nice shot from Servios. 326 against Shinma.
Should have seen it coming. He had him spotted and everything. But where's the rest of Full Potato? You can see how Full Potato has fallen to the south. Serenity, Static, Azrael, all the way to about as far south as you can go. And then on the back side of the West Hill, you've got tanks there as well. And now G-Forcer and Serenity are starting to take fire, and there's the move from Full Potato. External looks to be leading the way across the one line as they focus on G-Forcer. 729 damage. One more shell should take him down, but a low roll. And there, Chandog is able to pick up the kill, but that's in exchange for External.
Servios now trying to hold the line against 3 tanks as Urtai moves up to confront Full Potato. Warbanner, the first tank that could fall here. He's getting target fire down, and he may be able to escape, actually, as he's going to hide behind Boar. Meadowhawk continues to fire towards Servios. Zone Delta with 2 shots. Ready for Fat Crow. Fires once. Fat Crow 1 shot away from going down, and Zone Delta gets it as Boar able to return fire around the corner and take down 2 tanks.
But
Warbender and Boar still holding that position.
This can go either direction. There's so much damage all over the place. But here's what eLevate has going for them. They have a full health Static, and he has taken nothing, while the rest of Full Potato is just so low, so close to going down. But little exchanges all over the place. This can still be decided by Full Potato. They could still bring this back. There's a chance. It's just getting thinner as they take more and more damage while not being able to reciprocate.
Warbander at a sliver of health and now on the reload in his autoloader tank. The AMX 1390 is a 6-shot tank. After those 6 shots are sent out, you have to reload. Takes about 50... a little bit less than 50 seconds, right?
Yeah, about 40. Depends a lot on what you bring.
Yeah.
There's so many, there's the equipment and the consumables, along with your crew skills, which factor in also your hit points. Warbander is below 10% hit points. He's reloading even quicker than a normal 1390.
Yep. Boar goes down. Static around the corner got that shot. Shinma on the run. The attackers, though, need to still stay in the fight or go for a flag cap with 2 minutes and 40 seconds. I really appreciate Full Potato going for an attack a lot sooner compared to waiting till the 2:30 mark to go in, because it leaves them with slightly more options after the attack fails, in a sense, right?
They can still attempt to clutch it.
Yeah, they're still way overmatched, but nothing impossible. Not yet.
Exactly. Now, Warbander made an interesting decision, which is he went back east, but you can tell that there was a call to go back to the southwest. But eLevate has had time to turn themselves around, and now the range that they could have gone to, the distance they could have crossed, is such that now Shinma is spotted. But Warbander is not, curiously enough, and if he uses that to his advantage, we could have Shinma pull the attention of eLevate west while having Warbander in a hidden position able to fire, and that's what Warbander's going to do. But now he is spotted, and he will take fire. Serenity, though, unable to make that connection. And he has an opportunity now, and that's it.
Azrael moves up. That kill is initiated with 1 tank left. Static able to get 234. Azrael, 3 shots remaining. Long range can't hit Shinma again.
Shinma tries to go for the thin safe shot, but not able to connect. Not a reliable enough clean hit, and he will go down.
That's Serenity 17 with that long range shot. eLevate now leads 4-3 in this best of 5 series. 1 battle away from taking it, and they'll be on the defense again against Full Potato. Quite a series. Really worthy efforts coming from both teams here.
It really is. There's no huge mistakes, except when you start to get towards the end and things become so dependent on the exact decision you make. But here, Full Potato makes a strong opening play. There's a little bit of a low roll. Maybe choice of shell should have been different. AP instead of heat or HE. In some cases, for those RU-251s, that's where the skill and familiarity with that tank comes into play. Knowing what to load next could have affected the effectiveness of Full Potato's push. Now, eLevate did an excellent job. Their setup is such that they are able to watch every single approach and able to respond to it. So if 3 tanks come from the north, they are able to have 4 tanks put a shot onto that position. So you're able to overmatch, and you're able to have kind of force multipliers. So while you're attacked one time in the east, you're able to support that east position, but you're also able to then shift that attention to the west, where tanks are being evenly matched, but you have someone able to help. And that's all you need to shift the momentum or tip the scales, as it were.
We're up against the ropes, 4-3 right now. Full Potato could come back and go to a tiebreaker. However, what's worked with them so far is I feel they keep finding eLevate either out of position or just not prepared for any type of blitzes, any type of fast movements. That's worked in the favor of Full Potato so far. The attack was a good timing, but it just wasn't effective enough. So if there's anything that I could switch with Full Potato, I think is just landing some of these initial shots, moving into these brawls, kind of similar to Simple Tankers.
Yes, exactly. You need to start with on the upper hand. You don't want to go in when it's an even fight. Go in when you know it's in your favor. You never want to start with that. You always start with a superior force. If you don't have a superior force, you evade your enemy until you can get that position. You harass them. You split their focus. I mean, I think you can probably just draw quotes from The Art of War.
Yeah.
On is your force superior? Is it inferior? Is it the same? And all of those rules apply in this situation because you always start with an equal force.
Looking at the opening run coming from the defenders. Oh, shout out to Pauling Matthew, first time viewer, really liking the strats. Let's go Full Potato. Thanks for tuning in, Pauling. Thanks for the tweet.
There's a lot of new people tweeting.
Yeah,
we really
it's
appreciate
great.
that. Also, don't feel like you can't ask us any questions because we will gladly answer anything that you're curious about. Strategy, these teams, go ahead and throw those out there. We can feature those and read them up here, and then Josh and I would be glad to answer those for you. So
yeah, we're very grateful for the support that we've seen, and for any new players or new people watching the esports side of World of Tanks to see how the pros play here in the 7x54 format. So, easy day so far for eLevate, at least in the last minute and 12 seconds. No full-on blitz from Full Potato yet, but I like how Shinma is scouting on the eastern side, south of the magical forest there.
He's grabbing the attention of eLevate, and now he's going to start creating more of a distraction, just shooting out at different bushes to try and just kind of spook Static or Azrael, who are out there watching. And if he's able to get that, then you've got something. But now there are shots being fired. Looks like Zone Delta is firing blind into the east. This is perfect for Full Potato. If they can get the auto-loaders from eLevate to keep firing, they can begin their engagement while those tanks are on reload. And the reload's so long that you get free damage, or you get an approach where you don't have to pay any hit points to start.
Randall and I mentioned that story of that T-69 versus the IS-3. This is a T-69 being used by Zone Delta, an American Tier 8 medium tank. It's a 4-shot autoloader, usually used as a finisher or a flanking tank. That's definitely one of my favorites. Servios is going to be joining him as coverage just up above these hills, these mounds. And now Warbander, along with Meadow, are starting to push forward a little bit.
Yeah, we've got Boar external, Chandog, and Fat Croak moving down the one line as the large hit squad of RU-251s, and there's the opening volley. G-Force are taking only 223 in that, while Meadowhawk and Warbander are moving in from the middle. Shinma, covering from the east, is going to be able to put some fire onto those more difficult to find tanks. Now, up and over, there's a pause, and Full Potato is going to stop to focus more onto Zone Delta and Servios in the middle while trying to keep covering this defilade, this lower ground.
And that's one tank down. Zone Delta. Warbander could be the next to fall. He's going to fall back a little bit, takes a little bit of damage, and on the burn goes down. Meadowhawk, the next target on the side of Full Potato, as eLevate is pushing back against the aggressors, at least on the eastern side, but the exact opposite is happening on the western side as Full Potato's pushing up against G-Forcer, Static, Azrael, and Serenity. Full Potato continues to move forward.
External, the kiss of death onto G-Force. He's going to continue and chase into a 1390. Azrael still has shells, should be able to stop some of this momentum for Full Potato, but a few misses will allow External to get some shells out before going down.
Serenity hit for 379, moving down in the defilade. Fires back with Azrael. 90 gets that kill. 2 tanks remain for Full Potato. 5 remain for eLevate as they're one battle away from closing this high-octane series between 2 teams that are continuing to improve. Chandog 1 shot away from going down.
And he's going to go for Static. Looks like he might have been burning for just a second. And can Chandog get one more shell? Yes, he does. And that's going to be another kill.
Chandog dancing back and forth behind the house.
Oh, wow. Shinma doing a decent job here, and there's a shell into the back just before Chandog goes down. Now Shinma is on his reload. Azrael just trying to get a little bit of damage, but Shinma's heavier than him. And for 1, does 26. And then Shinma moves to the left just in time for Servios to penetrate his track, but not his hull.
And that's it. eLevate takes the series 5-3 against Full Potato. Hard fought and hard won from this team, and still we have to tip our hats to Full Potato tonight, though.
That was one of my favorite matches this season. Both teams very evenly matched, excellent strategies. There were tiny little mistakes in some of these battles that I'm sure both teams noticed when they happened, being a little bit too high on a hill, being a little bit to the left or the right of a position, or beginning an engagement slightly too early, slightly too late. But it was so close to being just what needed to happen, that I think these teams have an excellent grasp right now upon the strategies and meta, and also upon tank lineups, how to play that head game, predicting your opponent, and then working around that. So many things went right for both of these teams. You really do, tip their hat to them.
Yeah. Really impressive play from both teams. Again, eLevate the victor. And I'm just being informed that we have a press conference coming from Full Potato. Let's go ahead and take that feed.
Thank you everyone for showing up on such short notice. I'll try to make this as brief as I can. The Full Potato organization regrets to announce that as of January 23rd, both World Without War and Cash Baby will no longer be with us. World has decided to step back from competitive gaming to focus on his master's degree. He's a great tanker that was an integral part of our Silver League championship run, and he will be missed in the locker room. We wish nothing of the best for him for his studies, and hopefully he'll return to us once he's finished them. Cash Baby has been removed from our active roster because he pulled a mouse cord during practice last week attempting a difficult maneuver. Our team doctor, Hewlett Packard, says that he will miss the remainder of the season, including the playoffs, to recover from his surgery. It's bad break, but we've managed to pick up a top prospect in Makos from the Tomato Tankers in Silver League to fill his spot. And lastly, a bit of good news. We are pleased to announce that we've signed Commodore as a restricted free agent for the remainder of the season with little effect to our salary cap. Besides his raw talent, Commodore brings his Gold League level experience from his former team, C'est La Vie. And despite the format changes, focusing on faster-paced, combat-oriented play, We are confident that he will fit into our team well. That is all for now. I won't take any questions this time. There will be a question period at a later date. Thank you.
Cash baby out, Camendor in. That's the headline coming from that press conference from Full Potato.
Did he say he pulled a mouse cable?
Yeah, it's a bad break. Tough to hear, man. Real tough. Again, Full Potato looked excellent. Unfortunately, not a victory for them, but we'll have to see how they're going to pan out on their match on Tuesday. We'll have to check and see who they're going to be up against. eLevate moves on, and we're going to get ready for Simp versus Simple Tankers for our next matchup.
Oh, that's going to be fun. Every single match has been so good tonight.
Yeah,
and now this is the cherry on top.
It really has been. It really has been. Looking forward to that one. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned. The next matchup happens after this.